Hello, everyone. It is B with the B Code, and welcome back to my channel. Um, First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers and to those who watch my videos. Please do not hesitate to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if it is in your heart to do so. And of course, I will be very thankful and appreciated if you would subscribe. So, as you can see by my thumbnail, if she calls you a girl, call her a bitch. And the title of it is The History of the Name Girl for Black Women. Girl is supposed to be applied to young ladies under the age of 18, right? That's a girl. However, if you know the person's name, you would still not refer to that young lady as girl. You would be respectful, introduce yourself, ask her her name, and then refer to her as such. But the term girl for Black women in slavery days was to take away the fact that she is human, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can look at why the term girl was used for Black women. And in doing so, we'll also look at the term boy that was used for the Black man, right? So let's see here. We're right here. So I took the liberty of pulling up this PDF file titled Racial Etiquette: The Racial Customs and Rules of Racial Behavior in Jim Crow America. Right? Let me make sure okay. Now, here we go. Most Southern white Americans who grew up prior to 1954 expected Black Americans to conduct themselves according to well understood rituals of behavior. The racial etiquette governed the actions, manners, attitudes, and words of all Black people when in the presence of whites. To violate this racial etiquette placed one's very life and the lives of one's family at risk. Blacks were expected to refer to white males in positions of authority as boss or captain, a title of respect that replaced master or master, the fuck that is, used in slave times. Sometimes the white children of one's white employer or a prominent white person might be called massa to show special respect. If a white person was well known, a Black servant or hired hand or tenant might speak in somewhat intimate terms, addressing the white person as Mr. John or Miss Mary. All Black men, on the other hand, all Black men, on the other hand, were called by their first names or referred to as boy, uncle, and old man, regardless of their age. If the white person did not personally know a Black person, the term nigger or nigger fellow might be used. In legal cases and the press, Blacks were often referred to by the word Negro with a first name attached, such as Negro Sam. At other times, the term Jack or some common name was universally used in addressing Black men not known to the white speaker. On the Pulham sleeping cars on trains, for example, all the black porters answer to the name of Boy or simply George, after the first name of George Pullman, who owned and built the Pullman sleeping cars. Whites much preferred to give blacks honorary titles such as doctor or professor or reverend in order to avoid calling them Mr., while the term nigger was universally used. Some whites were uncomfortable with it because they knew it was offensive to most blacks. As a substitute, the word nigra often appeared in polite society. Black women were addressed as auntie or girl. Under no circumstances would the title Miss or Mrs. be applied. A holdover from slavery days was the term wench, a term that showed up in legal writings and dispositions in the Jim Crow era. Some educated whites referred to black women by the words colored ladies. Sometimes just the word lady was used. White women allowed black servants and acquaintances to call them by their first names, but with the word Miss attached as a modifier. Miss Ann, Miss Julie, or Miss Scarlett, for example. The practice of addressing blacks by words that denote disrespect or inferiority reduced the black person to a non person, especially in newspaper accounts. In reporting incidents involving blacks, the press usually adopted the gender neutral term Negro, thus designating blacks as lifeless and unknown persons. For example, an incident report might read like this: rescuers discovered that 2 women, 3 men, 4 children, and 5 Negroes were killed by the explosion. In general, blacks and whites could meet and talk on the street. Almost always, however, the rules of racial etiquette required blacks to be agreeable and non challenging, even when the white person was mistaken about something. Usually, it was expected that blacks would step off the sidewalk when meeting whites or else walk on the outer street side of the walk, thereby giving whites the wall. Under no circumstances could a black person assume an air of equality with whites. Black men were expected to remove their caps and hats when talking with a white person. Those whites, moreover, who associated with blacks in a too friendly or casual manner ran the risk of being called a nigger lover. Blacks and whites were not expected to eat together in public. It was okay for blacks to enter a restaurant to buy food to take out or to stand at the end of a lunch counter until their order was taken. Usually, they would then leave and wait outside for their food to be brought to them. So, basically, what I'm saying is that the word girl for the black woman is an insulting one, right? It was designed to refer to her or let it be known that we think of you or we see you as a non person, right? So now let me explain why I decided to do this video referring to the name girl for black women. Because I recently saw a video on YouTube where a woman of non-color referred to black women as girls, and she said it was because we are children. We are little girls. So she used it as an insult, right? So I wanted to give, my black women a little bit of power. and let them know that when a person of non-color is calling you a girl, they're insulting you. They're implying that you're non-human, that you don't have feelings and you're a child. And this was another reason why the black woman was called girl and the black man was called boy, to let us know that we aren't adults, we are children, irregardless of our ages, right? Very insulting. Okay. So if she calls you a girl, call her a bitch. And maybe one of these days I'll explain to you why to call them a bitch. But for now, it's not necessary. But if and when it becomes necessary, I will take the liberty in explaining why you should call them a bitch. So, anyway, hopefully, this will be informative to the people that like to refer to black women as girl. Hopefully, they'll stop. But if not, if you continue to hear the name girl when someone is referring to you, black woman, just simply say bitch.